Navigating Betrayal webinar, podcast, and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Kaylee Dunn, betrayal navigation coach, betrayal trauma therapist, and admin of this free Facebook group, Humans Navigating Betrayal. Today, Kendra, my co-admin, and I are going to be covering some really interesting stuff. But before we do, Kendra, do you want to share a little bit about your background and your experience, just in case those that are newer to the group don't know you?
Absolutely. So I'm Kendra Last. I am a certified betrayal trauma life coach, and I help women thrive and really get back in touch with their true selves and find happiness after betrayal. And then Kaylee and I run a retreat together. I'm a retreat certified leader, and yeah, I love helping women, betrayed partners, heal after betrayal. I've been through that myself, and we all need a guide sometimes, and happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kendra. And if you don't know Kendra, keep your eyes out. She is just really great at connecting to people in the group and giving you, she's a straight shooter. She's going to tell you what you need to hear. Also, she's really great and fun and funny and just a great friend and colleague. So today we are going to be covering three main things: rebuild, rise, and reclaim. And what does that mean? But these are three steps towards a fresh start after betrayal. So often we hear women saying, "Oh, I just want a fresh start. I just want to feel like I can clear the slate and move forward for myself," because we lose often so much sight of who we are and our identity, and there's so much pain and trauma. And so we're going to cover those three steps towards a fresh start after betrayal. So let's just first start for just a minute or two. I really want for those listening to hear my empathy, deep empathy, because like Kendra, I've been through betrayal myself as well. And even though many years have passed for both of us, we don't forget what those wounds felt like. We don't lose sight of really that deep pain and loss and grief and anger and sadness and just confusion that can come. And so before we just jump right in and start handing you solutions, I just want to share that I get it, that it's not fair, that this shouldn't have happened to you, and also that there's hope and growth possible.
Yeah, like even though I don't feel like I'm not in the first stages of betrayal anymore, but I remember what that exhaustion and overwhelm and just like complete, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know which way is up. Like I remember that, and I have great empathy and sympathy for that. I help my clients really understand it, where those feelings come from, and then help guide them out of it because I've also felt it and I found my way out. And
Mhm.
my goal is always to help clients and other people just in the group, everybody find their way out of it faster than I did. It took me years
Oh, same.
and didn't have good professional help and guidance. And it took a really long time. And that is the main driving force for me, is to help you heal faster than I
Right.
did.
Right, to make that process more efficient and more effective. Because same, when we went through this over a decade ago, each of us, there wasn't as much help and support. And the help and support that was available wasn't always from those who'd been through it. And there wasn't a lot of research available at that time. And so
Totally.
now that we have the research, we know the steps, we know the stages personally and professionally. We want to do that and help you kind of find your own individual path. So um like you said, we know what this pain is. And I was also going to add, there are many of you listening today who are probably 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years into this journey. And you're wanting your relationship to work, and you're wanting to heal together. And there might be slips on your partner's part if there's an addiction there, or there might be choices, just bad choices from your partner that is continuing to hurt you. Maybe you've exited that relationship and you're still having a hard time, even years later, really find yourself again. And we see you too. You're not behind. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you, that this is not a really clear path, because it is difficult. And so what we want to start talking about is rebuilding. That's that first step, is rebuilding. Because the event itself, the crisis itself, whether it's at the beginning, it's in the middle, or it's been kind of a long time, it's so exhausting and so overwhelming. One of the things that can accidentally contribute to us feeling stuck or staying stuck, obviously, in addition to our partner potentially re-traumatizing, or maybe a new partner re-traumatizing, is so often we look outside of ourselves, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. During that overwhelm and exhaustion period, why do we look outside of ourselves for support?
Mhm. I mean, I think the first thing is that we found ourselves in this world that we don't know what it is, betrayal, addiction, like we haven't ever been there before. And so it kind of feels like we've been dropped off on this deserted island. We don't know where to go or what's happening. And so we look for, like, please, please, somebody else just tell me what to do because it hurts so bad. Right. And sometimes we find good advice when we're looking. Sometimes we find mediocre advice when we're looking, and sometimes we find really, really bad advice
Right.
when we're looking. And really often it's maybe well-meaning, but it's still really bad advice. Often advice that's going to keep you kind of stuck in that same place of pain and betrayal instead of it really helping you rebuild yourself. So that's one of the reasons that we created our free Facebook group, Humans Navigating Betrayal, is so that there is a space where you can bring your questions and get answers by professionals and get answers from people who are a few steps ahead of you, and just kind of share the collective genius, maybe,
Yeah.
of what is betrayal trauma. Get a lot of validation for, yeah, I've felt that before too. That totally sucks and it hurts and I feel your pain. And here's maybe the next little thing you could do or the next little thing to do. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
you make such a good point that it's actually a really adaptive response when you're dropped on like an alien planet
mhm.
to look outside and say, okay, I've never been here before. I don't know what to do here, and reach out for support. Like that's a beautiful, natural way that we want to heal. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that drive. Another piece, right, is that when we experience an attachment wound of this level, when the person you love the most in the world stabs you in the back,
Yeah.
maybe even and continues to abuse, if there's denial, blame, gaslighting, more manipulation, layers of manipulation, it's very confusing to the nervous system and the mind to be able to heal. And so again, it makes sense with a combination of just like natural, healthy adaptation of like, I'm going to seek support when I'm hurting, good option. And also, like, my nervous system is all scrambled up and I'm not sure which way is up. So I'm going to ground into some other people, that there's some good things with that. And again, going to those safe places is a good option. Sometimes something else that we'll do is kind of go to the betrayer, the betraying
Mhm.
partner, for support, because, well, they caused this, right? And so of course they should have the option to fix it. If
Yep.
they stop acting out, I'm going to feel better. And one piece in helping, and that can become overwhelming, and that can become exhausting as we're continually going back to this other person, and without intending to do it, kind of putting some power there into that other person to say, well, if you get better, then I'm going to feel better, right? Or
Yep.
if this clergy leader or a friend or my mom has the right answer, then I can feel better. And if we don't land in the right safe arms right away, which some do, but many don't, that can create kind of the spin of exhaustion. And so when it's time to rebuild, when it's time to say, okay, I've been doing this for a while, I'm finding myself more overwhelmed and more exhausted and kind of in a cycle that's not supporting me, we invite you, as you know, in this group, to turn inward. And that might feel very scary because the nervous system is, potentially you're feeling ragey and out of control with your emotions. You might be avoidant and I don't want to look inside or at myself. You might feel frozen. You might feel collapsed. You might feel like you're just trying to fix yourself all the time and you're just angry at yourself, right? And so that might be scary. But today we want to give you just a little exercise on rebuilding that can hopefully show you that inside of you are some answers. So
Yes.
Kendra, why don't you start us there?
Yeah, so I want you to grab a small piece of paper and a pen or pencil. It can be any kind of paper, just grab some scratch paper. And first, I want you to write down, just rapid fire. I want you to write down everything that feels overwhelming. No filter. Don't try to think about or judge what you're writing down. You could push pause on this recording, and I want you to give yourself 1 minute, maybe two, to write it down. If you get to a minute and thoughts are still flowing, keep going, keep writing it down. Okay, but anything that feels overwhelming right now, whatever that actually means to you, don't worry about a dictionary's definition. Rapid fire, write that down. So go ahead and pause. Okay, and then once you've done that, I want you to we're going to do this for 30 seconds. So now set everything down. We're going to take some nice deep breaths. So we're going to breathe in all the way and fill your lungs up all the way. And hold it. And then release it. Make sure to empty your lungs all the way. Hold it. Then we're going to keep doing this. This time I'm going to count to 4 for each of those steps. So 4 counts breathing in. Hold it. Out. And hold it. And you can repeat that as many times as you need to do, like 4 or 5 times in a row. And just really let your breathing and your nervous system kind of get into a pattern, and it will like just naturally help calm the nervous system. Now I want you to go back to your list that you made, and I want you to briefly read over it. And I want you to circle one thing that you can control. What on your list can you control or change today? You can share that in the chat if you're watching this in the group. If you're watching this or listening to it somewhere else, you can comment there. You can send us an email. You can share it with your neighbor, or you could just say it to yourself. But I want you to acknowledge that thing and kind of promise yourself, I'm going to change this thing. So if it is, I'm overwhelmed about dinner every single night. That's one thing I can change today. I'm going to decide ahead of time what I'm going to make for dinner. I'm going to promise myself tonight, no matter how I'm feeling, I'm making this for dinner. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to go in and do that thing. Okay. So I want you to really think about what's the one thing you can control. So this is going to have something to do with you. It's not going to have to do with your partner because we can't control him or her. This is just about you. And it's just a simple act of taking back some control. It helps get rid of some of the overwhelm, and it resets your nervous system.
Awesome. Thank you, Kendra. This is such a powerful tool that you can use in such a short amount of time that even just now, I didn't even write my whole list and I went, oh yeah, I could do that. And I'm already feeling just less overwhelm, less exhaustion, and more of a feeling of relief, of pain and discomfort, and a recharge. And that's actually something that I have found clients who come to our retreat. We do these types of hands-on strategies and get them really built as strong tools for them. And they end up finding themselves able to start to rebuild and to recharge. And that's such an important part in creating that fresh start. The second part of creating a fresh start is rise. So that's the R word we're going to use for rise, which is, and another way we can talk about that is clarity. So a big thing that we work with lots and lots of people who've experienced betrayal will say that they are frustrated with cycles in their relationship that are over and over and over again. They find themselves just having these same conversations, and then they'll feel better for a month, 2 months, 6 months, and then, oh, we're back into these same cycles. And also the confusion of that. Like, how do I stop these cycles, especially if they're relational? Is there something that I can do? And so rising is one way that we work to decrease confusion, increase clarity, and prevent these cycles. And we've seen this with our clients saying these cycles are stopping and we're connecting. I'm connecting to my relationship now in a way that I didn't before. So again, let's talk a little bit more. What do those cycles look like and what does that confusion look like for your clients and maybe for you when you were going through it, Kendra?
Mhm. Yeah, and well, one of the things that clients find the most frustrating is the parts of the cycle that feel good. The parts of the
Mm,
cycle where it's like, oh my gosh, everything's back to normal. He's being so loving. This is what I've wanted. He's saying the right things. But when that happens over and over and over again, and she starts to feel safe and calm, and her nervous system isn't so activated, and then all of a sudden the cycle starts again, and he's back to
back at square
betraying,
one.
back to lying again. She's finding evidence of whatever it is he's doing. And, so many clients have said, I just wish he wouldn't even go to that place of being nice and doing the things that I want.
Mm,
But that's part of this cycle. Like,
mhm,
and whatever label you want to put on it,
mhm. Addiction, abuse, whatever you want to call it.
it still is this unhealthy, toxic cycle. And when you can just take a step back, one little step back,
Yeah.
just to look at it from a different lens and be able to name it and say, this is a cycle. And
Mhm,
even this part of the cycle that feels really good is still part of this toxic cycle.
mhm,
And honestly, I think it's one of the more dangerous parts of the cycle because it tricks you into thinking you're safe again. You let down
mm.
your walls, you're more vulnerable, and then you are more prone to get hurt, like deeper at worse.
Yeah, but so often what I hear clients saying too is like, yeah, but I don't want to just live my life with my walls up and being disconnected and being
Oh,
angry and being hyper
yeah,
vigilant. So what do we do? So we're going to talk about a tool that is so very powerful, but also very difficult. So after betrayal hits, especially if we have any type of trauma, which is common, right? um Again, going back to the nervous system and our brain has a difficult time seeing past what is in the present. And again, this is very adaptive. It makes complete sense. There's nothing wrong with you for being this way, because if you think about it, if you're being attacked by a lion, you don't want to be like, what is my dream in the future, right? You're going to be like, just get to safety, present moment, right?
totally.
But in this case, when it comes to trying to navigate betrayal, it can become a hindrance to the type of growth you want to do. And so, what we work on when it comes to getting out of stuck cycles and decreasing confusion, increasing clarity, and rising above, as we said, is something called vision casting, where we help people tell their whole story. So, not the same part of the story over and over again, but to actually tell your whole story, become the author of your story, become the heroine or hero of your story, rather than the side character of this other person's story. And we do this at our retreats, but I want to walk you through a little exercise to just show you how powerful activating this part of your brain can be a little bit, but if you spend a whole week doing it, how transformative that can be in your whole life. So what I want you to do, again, get out your journal. And I want you to think about, and this might be really hard. So if you need to pause and come back to it, if you need to fast forward and do this part another day, that's okay, because your brain might fight you on it. I'm just going to warn you. But I want you to think about, even a year from now, even 6 months from now, um, a future that you want to create for you, right? We can't control what your partner's going to do and their cycles. But what would you like to see just yourself doing? And again, you don't have to see yourself divorced from them or married to them or still dating or still living together, but really just focus on you and what you want to be doing in your day to day. And just take a minute or two and think of a future where you feel healed, where you feel confident, where you feel clear, I just want you to kind of embody that a little bit. And then if you were to describe that snapshot, if you were to take a picture of that future and label it with one word, what would that word be? And I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. Try to be as gut reaction as you can. Just what's the word? It was probably came right to your mind as soon as I said it. And then you thought, well, not that, but go to that one word. And if you want, you can drop it here in the comments to share with others what you see. And allow yourself to say, I see peace, or I see strength, or I am free, or I'm amazing, whatever that word was. And then also post that somewhere in your house. Put that on your wall, put it on your mirror, and allow that word to start to shift what your choices are. Mm-hmm. So if I'm peaceful, what would a peaceful person do in this moment? If I'm wise, what would a wise person do? Now I know this is we just took a minute maybe to do that exercise, but hopefully you can see that there's some power in engaging this front part of your brain, starting to work it out a little bit as you start to try to work through what's happened to you.
Yeah, so powerful. And we do a lot of that work at our retreats that we run together. It's work that I do with my clients almost every week. We pick a new word or phrase to kind of focus on that week. And it is so powerful when we give our brains the assignment to look for ways, how am I peaceful? How am I powerful? What does it feel like when I'm peaceful? What does it feel like when I feel powerful? And just like giving our brains that assignment to gather evidence about that thing. Like the word that came to me was power or powerful. And when I'm powerful, how does that actually feel in my body? And what do I want to do? And how can I create that on my own? And your brain gets really creative or curious about, what could I do with that? So keep that word, let your brain get curious about it, and go ahead and follow that natural curiosity. Let it be that first word, like Haley said, the first thing that came to your mind. Don't try to brush that one away. Use that one and get curious and just discover a little bit more about it and how that feeling or vibration, affects you.
Yes, exactly. So where our first word is rebuild and recharge, right? Where we're rebuilding that sense of self. Our second word is rise, which is building an understanding of our entire story, start to finish, so that we can break down those toxic cycles and increase communication and increase clarity so that we're not so confused about what to do next. Our last step is reclaim. And this is where we're finding confidence and connection. So when we're able to reclaim ourselves, we are then going to be more confident and more connected. One big fear that so many have as they're navigating uncertainty and disconnection and feeling weak and feeling broken and feeling disconnected is like, if I get strong again, I'm going to further alienate myself from people. If I set boundaries, that big word that you hear thrown around a lot, I'm putting up walls and I'm going to prevent people from coming close to me. But reclaiming is actually reclaiming healthy relationships and connection. And it's also building that self-confidence and self-compassion. So a big question that we always have, every client that comes to me, probably to you, and the questions I asked myself was, should I stay or should I go? When should I do it? And oftentimes it's those cycles you talked about, right? Where, oh, I'm feeling more connected again. I'm feeling more safe again. Okay, I'm going to stay. Like this is going to work out. And then boom, either there's acting out or maybe there's just emotional abuse or immaturity with your partner or deceptions and lies about other random things. And you're going, I guess we're not. And I do have to leave and I do need to get out of here. And then you're constantly in this, like, I can't even trust myself to know if I should stay or if I should go. And so reclaiming is a place to create stability in your decisions and in how the rest of your story is going to turn out. And a big piece, maybe you can talk a little bit to this, is boundaries.
Yeah.
And we teach this a ton. And of course, we do it in a retreat style. So it's intensive and we spend days
Mhm.
teaching hour-long, several seminars on how to do it and putting it into practice. But maybe you can give us just boundaries 101. I mean, the 2-minute synopsis on what are they?
Yeah. Boundaries are for you. So many people think boundaries are to make the other person stop doing something or to make them start doing something. But they're not. Boundaries are for you. And if we really get down to like the base level of boundaries, it's to allow the other person to do what they're going to do and show you who they are, and then you decide for yourself what you are going to do based on their behavior. So we can make requests of other humans. Hey partner, please don't look at pornography. I really hate it when you do that. I don't want you to do that. We agreed not to. Please don't. But just know if you do, I will ask you to sleep in the other room or whatever that second half of the
Yeah.
boundary is. Or I will, take a step back. I will schedule another appointment with my therapist or life coach. Whatever
Yeah.
that piece is, it's being able to tell other humans what you would like. Please do or don't do this. And then you deciding, it's a power piece of you deciding, okay, but even if they did that thing, I can protect myself by doing this other thing. And so
Right.
it's a protection for yourself. It's not a way to, it's not an ultimatum and it's not a demand that somebody must change or must stop doing something.
Right.
It's just if you want to remain in a close relationship with me, you do need to stop. But if you don't stop, I will choose to do this other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, Brene Brown says it's what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah.
Right? What's okay and what's not okay. And it really can be that simple. And you, listener, may go, yeah, I know. I know what a boundary is. And I even make those requests, but they're not
Mhm.
following through. Or you might say, well, I know, but I don't know what I need. So I want
Mhm.
to give you guys just a 2-minute little exercise to start the process. Of course, all of these skills we give you are, and it's just like riding a bike or learning to type or learning anything that you start out falling over and being terrible at. And by the end, you can't even imagine not knowing how to do it. So I'm going to give you this little 2-minute exercise, but over the course of time, you will need to put that more into practice with helpers sometimes to be able to get them really down. But you can try it for right now. So what I want you to start with is to find your yes. Okay. So what you're going to do is close your eyes and think of a time when you truly felt at peace, safe, or excited. And that might bring up some hard feelings. That's okay. Again, you can always pause and come back to this, but if you can, I want you to find a time in your mind where you felt at peace, safe, or excited. And I recommend you try to find a time unrelated to your partner because many people, the first thing they think is, yeah, but he was lying. And so come up with a different time. Maybe it's a time just you and a child of yours, or maybe it's a time where you were at work doing something you were feeling really good about, or in a hobby, or with a parent or grandparent or someone that has consistently been safe for you, right? So when is a time where you felt peace, safe, or excited? And you're welcome to pause to come up with that time as well if you need. And when you find this time, I want you to feel that in your body. So literally try to notice, where is that yes? Is it light? Is it heavy? Is it open? Is it tight? Is it warm? Is it, are your shoulders down? Like, where do you feel the yes? When you identify that, you could even take some notes if you want to. Then I want you to find your no. And again, if right now is not the time, you might not want to go somewhere super dark. You can just find a medium no, like driving in traffic or someone cutting ahead of you at the grocery store, versus betrayal. But you can go there if you feel like you can. But what I want you to do is close your eyes again, if you've opened them, and think, when's a time you felt unease, difficulty, or dread. That's your body's no. This is not okay. And then I want you to ask, when you found that, where do you feel it? Right? So ask your body, where am I feeling this? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel tense? Does it feel tight? Does it feel constricting? What sensations show up and where? And then take some time to take notes on that as well. So your body knows. Your nervous system is a giant brain that is more of an unconscious brain. You don't always have as much access to it as we'd like, but it's a giant brain, and it knows when something is a yes and when something is a no, based on the things that have been going on in your life, the things that you've learned throughout your life. If you are someone who's saying, my body sometimes tells me yes when it shouldn't, or no when it shouldn't, that's okay too. That's where you go to therapy and they help you find that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, our bodies know, even those of us who've grown up in difficult circumstances. And so as you start to consider boundaries that you're working on, you can use this tool at home, just with your journal, thinking through, when were moments of no that I said yes anyway? When were moments of yes that I said no to? And start to consider where you might need to make those requests to those adult humans in your life that we can't control, but we can make requests, or even just on your own, those self boundaries that we can start to make. And so as we set these boundaries, we start to, over time, and we start to get closer connection to our intuition of that yes and that no. Boundary setting is a really great tool for strengthening our intuition, by the way. We will decrease our uncertainty and increase our connection, because like Kendra said, boundaries are not about cutting people out. It's actually about showing people the door and saying, hey, this is the door to my space. You are welcome to come into my space. And just like if you went to a fancy black tie event, there's some rules and regulations about coming to that event, right? And so there are some rules and regulations about coming into my space and into my in relation with me. And there's so many people in this world that would be happy to do that with you. So that is where that connection starts to build deeper. And if it's with your partner, and your partner is devastated and they're sad that they did the things that they did and they want to make change, they're going to be more than happy to start to do that. And they're going to have to learn, we all have to learn, and new rules and regulations of life, right? Maybe not rules, but the way different ways to engage. But if they want to, they will, and they can learn those things over time. And so as you set those boundaries, it actually opens the door for more safe and healthy and happy connection.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is just like the surface.
We are scratching.
We've just touched this just a tiny bit. This is our jam. This is what Kaylee and I do, and this is what our retreat is about. So every summer, Kaylee and I run a retreat, and we would love to help you take this surface level scratch that we've done and really dive deeper so that you can implement all of these things in your life and really have your fresh start to put it into action.
Absolutely. So if any one of these tools was like, wow, that felt new, that felt different, that felt helpful, maybe a tiny, tiny bit of helpful, right? Like considering the big giant wound that you're dealing with, you might consider a retreat. So we're going to spend the rest of our time together talking about the Fresh Start Retreat, formerly known as the Empower You Retreat, coming up this summer. And if it's not for you, that's okay. You're welcome to, take these tools and continue using them. We highly recommend whatever you do, you use those tools and continue to build more. But if you do have any interest, we want to talk a little bit more about that with you today. First of all, recognizing that, again, rebuilding and decreasing pain, decreasing overwhelm, decreasing exhaustion, rising, which is building vision and a story and kind of really creating a cohesive understanding of what happened to you and then where you want your life to go and a roadmap of what steps need to happen next. And then third, how to build boundaries, how to decrease uncertainty and to increase connection
Yeah.
and really build that confidence and empowerment in your choices in your specific life, right? So right
Yeah.
here in lives, on podcasts, in books, so many of us, I know I was like this, I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm a smart gal, you're a smart person, you were like, I can figure this out, like that made sense, I can put this into practice. But what I ended up finding is that without real people walking me through it and coaching me through these different things, they didn't all stick when it came to those toxic cycles or those cycles we were talking about. And then when those moments came, I just did the same old things that I'd been doing over and over again. I'm like, wait, I know better. I know in my brain better, but I'm not doing better. And so these types of things don't really change your life until we take action. And we got to
Yeah.
take action and have that coaching that's kind of nudging us in these particular ways. So
Totally. And you can do a lot of healing on your own.
yeah.
Like I did a ton of my own healing on my own before I employed professionals to help me.
Yeah.
Um, but it took so many years. I waited along kind of in the mud for 9 years before I really employed professionals to help me heal. And
Mhm. Same.
so,
Well, 6, but yeah,
yeah,
same.
so my goal is to help you heal faster. And what Kaylee and I find with the retreat is we can help you do so much of that work in 5 or 6 days. What I find with my coaching clients is we can do years and years worth of work in 6 to 12 months. And so when you think about either just the cost of the time or the cost of the money for things for professional help, either a retreat or other help, it's buying you years back in essence. So you can do things for free and on your own. And I did, and I give out tons of free resources and will point you in all the directions. But it's also costing you years and time for you to figure it out from what you've read, from what you've heard, from all those things and really putting it into play. And so Kaylee and I like to pack the retreat just full of all the things to help you get the most out of your 6 days with us. So that way, when you go back home, you're like months or years further ahead
Absolutely.
in your journey than you were when you came to us, because that is our whole goal, is to get you to heal faster than we did. And we don't
Mhm.
want you to still be here 6 years, 9 years from now.
No, we don't.
One of my recent clients, she said, I was following you for 3 years before I ever booked a consult call with you. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it hurts my heart, because like she was trying so hard on her own for 3 years to do it on her own. And then just a few months in, it's like night and day difference of
Yeah.
where she is. So
Yeah, and what we've seen
professional help.
from, because we stay in contact with the women that come
Mhm.
to our retreat. So
Yeah.
we stay in contact with them and we kind of check in several months and then even like a year up to post, retreat. And what we found is that the work that they do in those days, they're reporting exponential growth in ways they had no idea. Even leaving the retreat, they're like, oh, that was a really great thing. And then 3 months later, they're like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
just had this conversation with my spouse that went so different than it would have
Mhm.
before the retreat. Or I'm charging my batteries and doing things that are self-care oriented that, like, yeah, I knew about self-care, but I just wasn't doing. And now I'm taking action and it is causing exponential growth in my life that I never would have done before the retreat. And so we're really seeing the impact of the tools and the pieces of information and also really the integrated immersive experience make some changes for people. Let's talk a little bit about what those immersive experiences are, or like what I mean, we'll keep some of our, secrets to ourselves. We have some fun things that you don't get to find out about until you get here. But let's talk about where it is. What's
Yes.
included? What is a retreat? You might be going, what's in a retreat? Tell us what a retreat is. I don't know. So what is a retreat?
2025. So this
2025.
summer, July 2025, we are doing it July 15th through the 19th. It is 5 nights, 6 days. at the Oregon coast. So you will fly into Portland, Oregon, and our retreat will be in the city of Seaside, Oregon. And it's an all-inclusive retreat once you arrive. So you will be getting your own transportation to Portland. So if you live in the area, you can drive yourself. If you live out of the area, you fly in and we will get you from the airport. And then we will take care of everything. One of the things that we have found is that when you are recovering from betrayal trauma and you have somebody else help care for your food and your just all of your daily needs, right? When you only
The
have to do,
cleaning, the
yes,
cooking,
uh-huh,
the
the activities, the all the things.
bed,
Yes.
all the things.
When all you have to do is eat the food and like exist, you have so much more energy to actually learn and care for yourself because the learning and the mental work, it takes calories and energy and it can deplete you. And so we help offset that by bringing you out of your natural environment where the betrayal happened, where you have your kids or spouse or other people that are kind of depleting some of your energy. So we like extract you from there. We bring you over and plant you in our retreat space. We take care of everything and it really gives you an environment to where and that's part of how you heal faster. You can heal in your normal environment. It just takes
Mm-hmm.
longer because you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly being depleted. When you
Mm-hmm.
can come over here to where we take care of everything, all of a sudden you have more capacity and your nervous system isn't constantly being triggered and alerted by your normal situation, then you have way more energy to be able to, learn things faster, to implement things faster, to really dive deep. So that is one of the really important things at our retreat is that we take care of everything. So once you arrive, we take care of you and we take care of you until we place you back at the airport and then you fly yourself home. So it's besides souvenir shopping, it is all inclusive and we will take care of all of your like true needs. We've got it all taken care of.
Yeah. Yep. And so when you get there, you'll have an itinerary. You'll know what you're going to do each day. Again, there's going to be some fun, special things that you don't always know about, but you'll know that there's activities or there's workshops. You'll be doing all of our workshops are interactive, they're immersive. These are all coaching opportunities to really get to know yourself. This year, we're also integrating some more really cool assignments. That sounds not that cool, but where you're able to really outline, for example, boundaries might be one that you want to use, where you can outline your boundaries and submit them, where we can have those overlooked by professional coaches. And then again, we'll have workshops where you're learning different things and different skills. You're going to be putting them into the practice. So that's the main portion, right? Is learning all of these different things that we talked about today, plus so much more. But also, it's literally on the beach. So
Yeah.
you will have free time where you can rest, where you can journal, where you can go to tide pools, you can look for sand dollars, which we can like so exciting and so fun because it's like a sand dollar beach. There's a little seaside town where there's like little restaurants and little souvenir shops and there's fun things to do there. And then there's just so much more that's included.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anything
Well,
you do want to share because I don't know which ones you don't want me to say. So.
so, um, with the rebuilding, rising, and reclaiming, one of the things that I know from my own personal healing journey and so many of my clients, and now from all the retreats that I have ran, the reclaiming piece is
Mm.
so important to learn how to do. And we help you really learn how to reclaim things. We're going to walk you through a very special, fun, just it's so healing, this exercise. When we asked last year's retreat attendees what their favorite part was, what their biggest takeaway was. They all said this event.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but I will tell you that of all the things that I have really looked at the needs of the women coming to the retreats and how we can help fill that need in a permanent way that can permanently fix that thing for them going forward. This is the piece that helps you reclaim. So if there are things that just feel so broken in your life, whether it's your birthday, whether it's Christmas, whether it's
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. So it could be an event, it could be a place. If there's somewhere that you used to go, if it's where you went on your honeymoon, if it's anything like that where you feel like,
It's stolen from you.
yes, my partner stole the joy of this thing from me. This retreat is for you. This particular reclaiming event that we do will really help you reclaim it forever and have the skills to continue to reclaim other things. One of the things, another R word that we don't include is just release. And we also help you really release and let go of old baggage, of old thoughts that aren't serving you, of old belief systems, whatever you're ready to leave at the retreat and not take home with you, we will also help you do that. And it's also a skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So not only are we having workshops that are going to help you really workshop through boundaries and figure out how to practically implement all of those things, we're also going to really, like, on a soul level, right? Like it helps
Mhm.
heal your soul. We're going to help you reclaim and we're going to help you release anything that's not working for you so that when you go home, you have this extra room to be able to build new things, So
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
this is our favorite time of the whole year. We love you deeply and want to invite you to come with us. And if this has like even sparked your interest just a little bit, I want you to book a call with me. We'll chat about the retreat. We want it to be a good fit for you, a good fit for us. We don't just let anybody come. It really does need to be a good fit. And so if you've been betrayed and you are looking to rebuild and rise and reclaim your life
On the beach.
on the beach, in literally one of my favorite towns on the planet. And when Kaylee talks about shells, let me just, for 5 seconds, I love this beach. I love the shells. There are whole sand dollars. There's tiny little baby whole sand dollars. Oh, I should have had some here to show
I
you.
know. We collected
Um,
so many last year.
I know. I just can't stop myself. But even the act of walking along the beach and looking for shells is a healing exercise. And that's why I love this beach for our retreat so much, because it takes so many of your senses to be looking for the shells. It's your sight. Your sound is activated because the waves are right there. You're feeling the sand in your toes. You could kind of even taste the salt water in the air. Like so many senses are activated, touch, picking up the things that you don't have the space to just worry about all the other stuff.
Mhm.
And so it then frees your mind to be able to process what we've been talking about in our sessions and really be able to, like, bring that all into yourself, and then when you look at these shells that you found later, it's like it activates something in your nervous system that helps you remember boundaries and rebuilding and reclaiming. And we're going to send you home with lots of other kind of mementos that will help visually remind you of your time, and so that what we give you doesn't just last for 5 days, that it really will rewire how your brain works moving forward and kind of rewire your relationships, if you will, because
Mhm.
you will be entering and participating in relationships differently and just in such a more healthy way. So you can go home and you can rebuild with your current partner. You can go home and rebuild on your own. You can go home and rebuild with a new partner. Like it's totally up to you, but what we do is not temporary. This is like permanent fixes, and we have the skills and experience of helping women for decades be able to do this, that we've been able to condense it into a small, fast retreat. But this is not just 5 days to feel better. It's
And then
not
go
just,
home and it's all the same.
yeah, we really, really have built in tools to help
Yeah.
you go home and make it be different.
Yeah, and kind of to speak to the principle of what you're talking about with the shells and the beach and the location and all of these things, where every moment is intentionally catered and created for a reason. So there's no moments of why did we do that? Because even if you don't even notice what's happening,
Mhm.
those different activities, the things that we teach, the order that we teach them, the
Mhm.
assignments that we give are all very intentional. The free time that you have and when you have it are all based in, again, our experience, some research, some knowledge of the brain and nervous system, and those sorts of things. And I think to go also to your point of the longevity of the retreat is that we also build in some connection before and after, so
Mhm.
that you're not showing up to a big group of strangers. We actually create a Facebook group that you join as soon as you sign up, and then as others sign up, you'll get to know them. That's open a couple weeks before, so you'll have a chance to introduce yourself and kind of connect there before. So when you get there, you're not just new faces completely, right? Of course, they'll be new, but you'll kind of get to know each other a little bit. And then afterwards, same thing. We keep the group open for some time after so that people can check in with, oh, I wanted to integrate this here. I forgot what you said about this. Can you reteach this part of the workbook? Remind me what that said. And we are active in there helping remind you. And then even other members of the group are like, oh, remember how you said you were going to do that? You got this. Remember
Yeah.
this goal that you said? Like, and we just root each other on for time after as well. And then I think,
Yeah.
a lot of people create these relationships at the retreat that last a very long time. And so
Mhm.
we could go on for hours and hours and hours about all of the many benefits. But what we do hope is that if, again, as Kendra said, if this has kind of spoken to your heart, if there's been any yeses inside of you as you've listened to what we've been talking about, that you book that call and just get a little bit more information and read a little bit more about it on the website and
Yeah.
start to ask some more questions. If you feel like you have, oh, I'd love to do that, but whatever that thing might be, time, energy, space, money, whatever, ask those questions and we'll see what we can do to connect with you there. Okay. So if
Yeah.
you feel like it's the right time for you, let us know. And
Mhm.
we'll make sure it's a good fit. Of course, we're not going to try to push anybody who doesn't want to
Yep.
come or isn't a good fit, but we'd love to hear from you because you do not have to navigate this confusing thing alone. Don't let 5, 6 years or 9 years pass before you
Mhm.
do something a little bit different to kind of create that trajectory and have that roadmap and start to feel less exhaustion,
Yeah.
less disconnection, more connection. Um, and so let's do this together. I hope you guys will
Yeah.
join us.
And I think that you just answered a question that's often asked. So I'll just point out the question is like, is it too early for me to come to the retreat? I just found out about the betrayal. Is it too late? I've been doing this for 9 years. It doesn't matter where you are on your healing journey. If it feels right to you, it's the right time. So if you just found out a month ago and you are looking for all the possible resources, this is right for you. If you have been struggling along for 6 or 9 years and you're like, okay, I don't want to keep doing this for another 6 years, I want some professional help, it's right for you. It's not too late and it's not too early for you to focus on your own healing and do it. And this will be a helpful thing. One other question that's often asked that we'll go ahead and answer now is how many people are coming? This is a small, intimate group. There will be a maximum of 8 attendees there. So it's not you having to be vulnerable with 50 other people. This is a very close-knit, small group of women, all women who will be there. And and it's just packed full of so many special moments that you're going to bond with these women and really feel connected and kind of go home with some lifelong friends. Some of my very best bestie friends I met at retreats decades ago.
Mhm.
So it's really a great, I don't know, it's just great fun environment. Any other questions that we haven't answered, you can reach out and ask them. DMs are open. The website is luxuryladiesretreats.com, and you could just go to the retreats tab there. The reason that it is called Luxury Ladies is because we want you to feel like you are healing in a luxurious way. Healing doesn't have to be painful, it can feel beautiful and nice and comforting. And we are going to take care of you from the moment that you arrive so that you feel like you're healing in a luxurious way. So that is our intention and our plan from the very moments of dreaming this all up. So go ahead and go to luxuryladiesretreats.com, click the link below, depending on where you're watching this. And we would love to chat with you, answer all your questions, and we'd love to see you at the retreat.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye.